So the only way to solve inequalities like this is to make sure that you are getting 0 on one side. So the first thing you're going to do is subtract 2 to the other side. And then when you look at what you have now, you're going to notice that you need a common denominator. So you're going to multiply the top and bottom by x plus 3 to get a common denominator for this negative 2. Distribute negative 2 into the factor you just gave it, and then we're going to combine the fractions together. So it's going to be x plus 1 minus 2x minus 6 all over common denominator x plus 3. Combine your x's, you get negative x. Combine your constants, you get negative 5 over x plus 3. And then I like to factor out the negative if they have that in common. So now that I've got my 3 factors, I'm going to go ahead and make a number line. You're going to set each of those factors equal to 0. This top one is going to give you negative 5. And the bottom one is going to give you negative 3. And the top one, you're going to use the symbol to decide whether the point is filled in or open. It is filled in because it is equal to. And then the bottom factor, you're always going to make an open circle because you can't let the denominator ever equal 0. So from there, you're going to make a table of values, but you need to be careful. This negative is really a negative 1. So that needs to be its own factor. So you've got negative 1, you've got x plus 5, and you've got x plus 3. You don't need that fraction bar. Not sure why I did that. Then up here, you're going to create your intervals. You've got negative infinity to negative 5. You then have negative 5 to negative 3. And you have negative 3 to infinity. And you're going to test values in each interval. So if I plug in, well, first let's start with negative 1. Negative 1 is going to be negative no matter what you plug in. If I plug in negative 10 to the second factor. All right, so I don't know where we left off because Andrew interrupted. But now, the next factor, if I plug in negative 10, I get negative. And then if I plug in negative 10 to this bottom factor, I get a negative. If I plug in this next column, I'm going to plug in negative 4. I would get a positive and a negative. The next column, I'm going to plug in positive 10, so I get positive and a positive. We're then going to multiply these columns together. 3 negatives make a negative. 2 negatives and a positive make a positive. 2 positives and a negative make a negative. So we are looking up here at less than or equal to 0, so we're looking for negatives, which means this column works and this column works. So in the interval, you're going to shade only those sections. So you've got negative infinity to negative 5 gets shaded, and negative 3 to infinity gets shaded. Then you're then going to write down your interval notation for your solution. So you would say x is an element of the sets negative infinity to negative 5, but we're going to put a bracket on negative 5 because it is equal to at that point. And then you're going to put union negative 3 to infinity for the next section, and you have parentheses on negative 3 because it is not a filled in point.